Good evening and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Major Applications Planning Committee, which is live on the Council's YouTube channel. The one item on tonight's agenda, which is the World Business Centre for Newell Road, Heathrow Airport. There are no petitioners on it, therefore no speaking rights to the committee tonight. Can I take apologies for absence first, please?
Apologies for absence received from Councillor Jazz Dillon, with Councillor John Oswald substituting.
Any declarations of interest on the one item before us? There are no matters urgent. The one item is in part one and will be considered in public. A quick reminder to everyone around the table, please make sure your microphones are on and you're speaking into them, otherwise it certainly won't get picked up on the public broadcast. Okay. With that, I'm going to go straight into the one item tonight. Andy, will you take us through this one, please?
Thank you, Chairman. The first application, or the only application on the agenda today, is an application site located to the south of Bath Road and accessed via Newell Road. It's located it's a fairly square-shaped site, which would otherwise be considered as vacant and underused, but we believe it does have some parking use at the moment, which is associated with the Well Business Centre, which is the building to the left of this map. This is a slightly clearer map. There are no site designations per se. It's not a conservation area. It is, however, within the Heathrow Airport boundary and has a PTAL of 3. It is also within the air quality management area and is in the proposed Heathrow Archaeological Priority Zone. The application seeks outline planning permission for the erection of a 4-storey building, which will be located to the south, with its main entrance coming in from Newell Road to the south of the site. The building will be set back from the Bath Road by approximately 5.2 metres, which is visible here. I have some further information on the setbacks of the other buildings along the Bath Road in later visuals. The principal elevation of the building would be located here, so that's the southern side of the site off Newell Road, and the main facade on Bath Road would be the back end of the building. The application proposes 160 car parking spaces, the majority of which are located at basement level, 20 are located at surface level. There is also a taxi loading bay proposed, cycle parking provision and motorcycle spaces are also proposed. Now, the building itself will be used as office headquarters for a company which provides technology for the travel sector. Within the Heathrow Airport boundary, what we seek to do is try and restrict the use of developments, which has been done on this application through Condition 6, to use only by providers who service Heathrow Airport. So, in principal terms, the office is considered acceptable and accords with the Heathrow Airport policies. If we move on, we have a picture of the roof plan. Now, the roof plan is proposed to house a significant amount of plant. However, the details of the plant aren't being considered at this stage. So there will be plant on the roof, but the extent of it and the screening of it will be changed, and that's covered through a planning condition on the application. There are some elevations. This is the north elevation with some of the tree planting along Bath Road, highlighted here. The eastern elevations, and you can see the rooftop plant, which is located just here. It won't look like that, but the conditions will hopefully deal with it looking more appropriate in its scale. This is the southern elevation, so this is the main entrance or the principal elevation of the site from Newell Road, which also shows the basement level car park and the western elevation. And that's just a section through the site. I'll take you through to some photographs. This plan, when we put it together, was a little bit clearer in trying to help us to just identify to you that there is no real uniformity of landscaping along the Bath Road. So there are some of the setbacks to to the building frontage are quite substantial. Others are less than the current proposal is providing, which is 5.2 metres. So the application itself is considered acceptable in terms of its setback and landscaping. Its location is just here because there is no real uniformity on the Bath Road, and they will be providing a landscaping scheme. This is a bird's eye view of the site, so whereas I described it as potentially vacant, it does have sort of informal use as car parking. The site across the road is the Marriott Hotel, which you'll see in some of the later visuals. The existing site does have a totem advert on it, which will be removed as part of the proposals. So here are some images from the site. I can show you what the actual... So this is the actual site itself. It is relatively clear. There are some issues that have been raised through the application process in relation to the transport assessment that's been submitted by the applicants, but I can let the highways officers deal with any specific questions, but we are proposing to secure a new transport assessment and any mitigation that's required as a result of the works through a Section 106 agreement. So that has been covered off. TfL have also raised similar concerns to our own highways team, so we felt it was something that we needed to secure by condition through the legal agreement to ensure that it was acceptable. There was only one other point that was raised, and that's with regard to flooding. Obviously, this application proposes a basement, but if we go back to the site plan, this site is also adjoined by land which is owned by the applicants. Sorry, I should have done this bit first. So the land over onto the right-hand side here was also in the applicant's ownership. Now, the extent of the basement had some initial concerns with regard to flooding. However, the attenuation work mitigation that would be provided is likely to be provided in the blue zoned area, and this has all been secured by condition. So it's not considered to be an objection in principle because it can be mitigated against. On those grounds, the application is recommended for approval.
I open this part. Start me off. Councillor Oswald.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Mandy, on page 44 on the plans, there's a unit on top of the 4 stories plus the basement. Did you say that that wouldn't be left like that? So does that mean that there will be a further application?
What we have done is recognised that the plant looks excessive in its scale and massing. So we have approved all of the plans, but ensured that we get further details, which ask for revisions to the scale, massing and bulk, and the appearance of that top layer that you're referring to. So the bit that has an annotation of A, so it wouldn't look like that in its final submission, but it's been secured by conditions.
If I can add a bit more to that. So in discussions I have with the Council's Urban Design Officer, they raised the point that seemed a bit bulky, the roof plant. I actually spoke to both the applicant and their agent, and effectively what they've done is, because this is an outline, effectively they've done an indicative roof plant that's the absolute maximum, and in reality they don't envisage there'll be that much roof plant. So they're happy with us imposing a condition that basically says that as part of your reserve matters you will provide less roof plant, because effectively they will, through the reserve matters application, look at the roof plant in more detail, and they fully envisage there'll be less roof plant, less bulky and less visual impact. I don't know if that helps.
Well, it helps, but we don't know. Sorry. It helps, but we don't know what it's going to be in its finality, do we? I mean, all right. Well,
yes,
it's conditioned.
It is conditioned and is an outline application. So because it's an outline, I think it's acceptable.
And also, it isn't in the most sensitive location, given where we are. There are other places I would be more concerned with it. Anybody got any others on this, Councillor Higgins?
Yeah, just following, there's 2 points actually. Following on from that one, obviously the plantation will be taken in consideration, obviously, because there's this nesting clause of seagulls, isn't it, during particular months. Is this, am I getting it right? Am I getting mixed up?
Yes. Yes. Designed to reduce Hang on, where is it?
It was somewhere here. I know I saw it somewhere. Anyway, but obviously the planting has to be make sure that there is nowhere for them to hide.
I was just going to say, bird hazard management plan. Yes, that's fine.
And the second point I have is on page 3, condition D. It says finalised before the 13th of April 2016. That's tomorrow. Is that going to be? Is there an addendum I haven't seen or something?
There is an addendum.
The legal agreement has in effect been finalised, but that sounds very optimistic to me, notwithstanding that.
Do you want to move that forward by a month? Or 2 months?
Would you be happy to me to give delegated authority to alter that to an appropriate date?
Yeah. Mr. Duncan.
Thank you, Chair. I assume that the cafe is not open to anyone. It doesn't say staff restaurant.
Cafe.
Just says cafe, like anybody could, walk in there. So do we need a condition to say that this shall only be for the use of staff within the building?
I was just thinking through my head the reason for the condition. I think it would be highways related, because what we wouldn't want is additional vehicular movements we haven't taken into account. So for that reason, I think we need an extra planning condition if you're happy to delegate for me.
I think we can delegate to you to work it out, but I think it makes entire sense and we can justify it, so that's good. Anybody got anything else on this one? Somebody give me a formal proposal? Councillor Osborne, Councillor Higgins, thank you very much indeed. So that is, we're accepting the officer report. We've delegated to the head of planning to amend the date of the legal agreement. We've also added a condition that for the head of planning to do wording on a condition regarding the cafe for being used for those who work in the building. Yeah. All those in favour, please clearly show. That was unanimously approved. Thank you very much indeed. Meeting closed. 6:42.